This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Let's talk about this fella, Richie Blackmore. I've never met the man, and nor am I likely to, so I can't say for certain whether or not he's a nice bloke or not. But he does have something of a reputation that goes before him, doesn't he? Many is the story, often told by his ex-colleagues in Deep Purple, about Richie's fondness for getting his own way. And if he didn't get his own way, then, there would be usually some sort of diva strop, a hissy fit of some kind. And it often makes me think about this scene from Spinal Tap where Nigel Tufnell is complaining about the catering in the dressing room and, acting in a rather spoilt, brattish manner. And I often wonder if that scene is based upon an anecdote that's been told by someone who knew Richie. It amuses me to think so. Anyway, and one way that I think Richie would often throw his toys out of the pram if he hadn't got his own way on the catering or whatever, would be to make the most god-awful, cacophonous, atonal racket when it came to playing a guitar solo, if he was in that kind of mood. There are examples of this. I apologise if I'm slagging off one of your favourite solos or songs, but I always find the solo on Black Knight a challenging listen, shall we say. Same can be said of Richie's solo on, what was that song they did when they got back together again, the Mark II line, Knocking at Your Back Door, from that sort of reunion they did in the 80s. And if you take a listen to the live album that went along with that kind of reunion, what's it called, Nobody's Perfect, I mean, there are shall we say, tantrum solos all over that, most notably in Child in Time. But when Richie did get his own way, when he was, calling the shots, i.e. when he wasn't in Deep Purple, when he was in Rainbow, I can't think of a single example of a solo like that. Because he was the boss man and he was, everybody had to do what he said, so he was getting his own way. And one of my favourite solos from that period comes from this album, Difficult to Cure. I would say on balance, that the predecessor to this album, Down to Earth, is probably my favourite Rainbow album. That can change on a daily or weekly basis, but this album's got some good moments, including the lead single off the album, which was called I Surrender, written, funnily enough, by Russ Ballard, the same chap who wrote Since You've Been Gone. And it's got a real catchy earworm of a solo, and it goes like this. So that's my rendition of the solo. Now let's have a little bit of a look at what's going on in the solo.
Solo explanation.
Okay, so beginning as always by taking a look at the chord sequence which underpins the solo. It goes like this. And if you want the non-80s Casio keyboard sounding version of that jam track, well, it is, along with all of the other resources for this lesson, up on my Patreon page, which we'll talk about later. So, we're in kind of a G minor tonality here, and all of these chords, G minor, well, C minor, F, B flat and E flat. They all come from the G minor Aeolian mode, or the G natural minor key. The final chord there, the D, you could kind of say that's coming from like a G harmonic minor kind of place. The only real significance that chord brings with it, though, in terms of what's played over the top, is that in the sort of G natural minor you'd have a D minor chord. Here we've got a D major chord, and the only difference is that D minor contains an F, D major contains an F sharp. So when we hit that chord, if there's a kind of an F note to land on, we turn it into an F sharp because it fits the chord. Apart from that little aside, though, the rest of the solo is entirely based around the G natural minor scale, and every single time we land on a note which is prominent over any given chord, that note is always the note that's actually in the chord. So we start with the first part of the solo. So we can see that the prominent two notes in that are this one, and then up to this one here. This is a B flat note, which is in the G minor chord. Then this note here, which we land on over the C minor chord, is an E flat, and that is in that chord as well. Both notes are the minor third of each chord. So we get then down to this A note down here, which is in the F chord, which has just arrived, and then we come up to this D note that we're bending from the C, the 5th fret on the 3rd string. Once again, that is the major third of the chord that we're playing over here, which is the B flat chord. So there's our next prominent note there. That is a G note, which is the major third of an E flat chord. So he's got a bit of a taste here for landing on the third, the minor third of the minor chords, the major third of the major chords at every point in the solo. And you can kind of see that all of the stuff that's going on here is largely coming out of what you could begin to view as a G minor pentatonic, with the added A note and the added E flat notes. And if you add those in all the way through the scale, you'll get that G natural minor scale. So far we've got there's that E flat, that E flat chord again, the major third of it. Notice here we go to this note here, this F sharp. Why? Because I mentioned it earlier. This is where we're hitting the D chord, and instead of playing the F note that's part of the scale, we adapt the scale to fit the chord by hitting the F sharp note. Then essentially we just go through that entire thing again, a little bit simplified. We haven't got this little flourish here. We haven't got this on the second time through. It's more kind of that there, just simplified a little bit. And there's a harmony played with it, as you could see in the performance earlier. And this is just a pure thirds harmony. So we know that the notes in the scale, or we can figure out that the notes in the scale are G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, and back to G again. Okay, and essentially the harmony part is just all of the notes that we've seen in the melody so far, but 3 scale steps higher. So when we're starting on the B flat note there, go 3 steps up the scale, B flat, C, D, that starts on the D note. Is the harmony to, and basically the harmony part just tracks the original melody 3 scale steps higher, and I'll play through it now. It looks like this. And that, remember when we had the F sharp from there earlier, we just treat that in terms of the harmony like we would an F. So what's 3 scale steps above the F? F, G, A. Well, the F sharp will harmonise with the A just as well as the F note would if we didn't have that D chord there. So, original guitar part. With this harmony over the top of it. A catchier solo, I think you'd struggle to find. It's a real earworm, this one, which is what attracted me to having a go at it for the channel in the first place. It's accessible. You don't have to be a virtuoso to play it, and it sounds good. What's not to like? So, now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it. And as always, you'll find a full tab for the solo in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and the backing track to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the link, there's the address rather, and link in the description. As I'm sure you know by now, it's $3 or £3 a month, and you get access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to everyone and anyone who supports me in that way, or any of the other ways, all of which are down in the description. And that is the video for today, folks. Hope you found it entertaining and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and frankly whatever else crops up. It's a fantastic way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.